up, though, Pride Nation, and welcome back to another episode of your Detroit.Sports.Alliance RoundTable. I am your host, Luke G. We have a good one for you today because we had to do some reactions to a particular interview, and I could not be more excited to do this. I think this is something that needs to be discussed because this guy dropped a lot of gems in there, and we're going to talk about that. Before we go into that, one of our DSA members is no longer a member with us. That is Nomis J. He is no longer a Detroit Sports Alliance member. So just want to wish him a best of luck and appreciate him for being a part of DSA. J-Mo, will you have any thoughts for him?
Yeah, man. Yeah, no doubt, man. That's my brother. I've talked to him, and yeah, I definitely wish him all the best. And we've talked. He'll still be, on the above the rim with us whenever he decides to come on. And it's just he's going through a lot of things and trying to figure stuff out. And I wish all the best. That's my brother. Like I said, I talk to him every day, man. It's all good. He's doing well, and we just live and we learn and we grow.
Support, Jim. You got anything for him?
Yeah, I just wanted to say good luck to everything, and I just wish that everything, everything he's going through clears up and things are going well for him. But just as a person, he's a really good guy. I do talk to him a lot, and I wish you the best, man.
Absolutely. Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you hear my youngest son in the back making a ton of noise, I apologize because he's gotten excited because he hear his mother moving. Who just got home from work, so he's excited right now. So if you hear him, my apologies. I know, son. I know. Don't tell the people. I got you. I got this. He's trying to tell me how to do my job these days. But ladies and gentlemen, this is what I want to do. Okay, so I'm sitting up here, and I was listening to a podcast called Bleav, and this particular podcast was a podcast that was done with former Detroit Lions safety Benny Bleav. Now, the host of it, which is, I hope I did his name right, is Derek Okori. He was phenomenal. Like, I'm talking about phenomenal in the questions he asked and the different things like that. But it's what Benny Bleav, people, it's what Benny Bleav himself said that made me be like, whoa. So what I decided to do is this. I decided to do a live reaction to Benny Bleav. I want the people in the chats view on this, and I want every person on this panel's view on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the clip off. Okay, let me do this quickly, so I won't mess this part up because I know that I'm trying to make sure I keep the noise down with my son in the back. But as I see, some people understand what it's like to be a parent. First up, we have Ryder Wrong on the panel. What's going on, Ryder?
What's up, Luke? Excited to talk some Lions football tonight. Let's get into it.
Absolutely. And then we have our special guest, people. His channel is linked in the description. It is Onepridenation. What's going on, Onepridenation, a.k.a. Mike?
Not much, man. Not much. Just here to talk some sports, football.
Absolutely. Then we have 313 J-Mo, the heart of the city in the building. What's going on, J-Mo?
What's good, everybody, man? It's training camp is back. Things are moving with the Lions finally. So I'm definitely excited to talk some football with you guys. Make sure you guys like the video.
Then we also have OMG is Lions Talk, a.k.a. Mike. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? I'm happy to be back, man. I feel like I ain't been here in a while, Luke.
Hey, man, listen, it has been a long time, so you gotta have a little bit of fun while you can. Then we have Mr. Detroit Sports Room himself, Mr. Jim Bordeaux. What's going on, Jim?
Hey, nothing much. Shouting out my wife in the chat who's saying, "What's up, DSA?" She's going to be joining us in the chat tonight. Really appreciate the fact that we can all come together and talk some sports because I desperately need that right now.
Amen.
Been a long day.
Amen. Listen, I tell people all the time, like, this right here is more like therapy for me. So it's one of the reasons why I love doing this. It lets me talk sports, and it's like relaxing. And then last but certainly not least, we have one half of the dynamic duo, Real Detroit Lions fans. Real, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, all the Real Detroit Lions fans in the chat? Happy to be here. Happy to talk Lions, and let's get this rolling, man.
Listen, we got Antoine Juhai who said, he says, what up, though? What's the mother deal, fellas? Hey, everything's all good. You can call me Funky in the building. 1991, Max Stagg is in the building. James Holyfield, Rich Law, the general viewers in the building. Hey, everybody who's in here, we appreciate y'all. let's get into Benny Bleav. Benny Bleav is for the interview. I'm going to be playing the actual live podcast from it, and each part of it, I'm going to break it down, and we're going to react to it in real time. So let's get this going. Y'all ready?
Ready.
Let's go.
Always.
Let's keep the show moving and talk about culture. The first thing I had about it, I mean, culture. How important is team culture, and how do you build a great football culture?
I'm glad you asked that second part, because culture is built. People think, you can get 22 starters in a locker room and you have team culture. No. Culture is believing in that teammate that he's going to solidly 100% give you his all, play after play after play. So when you get 53 guys on the roster, if I can't trust the bottom of the roster, just like you trust the top of the roster, then you don't have culture in that locker room. Those things are built along the way. And people always talk about the Chicago Bulls. They talk about the Detroit Pistons. They talk about the San Francisco 49ers. They talk about the New England Patriots. Those cultures were built. You cannot go into those locker rooms and say, hey, look, I'm just going to show up and be a player that's going to make money and not give you 100%. You think Tom Brady would have dealt with that?
So right off the bat, people, we are talking culture. And the reason I stopped it there is simply because I want your view on it. Starting with you, Real, what are your thoughts on Benny Bleav's view of culture?
I think he's 100% right. And I think, this kind of bleeds into what we were talking about last week a little bit. And for those of you who didn't listen, it was, basically the fact that some of us were saying that Patricia needs a couple of years, to build this culture. And, he hasn't had that thus far because of the situations that he's been put in. And then the other half of the DSA was saying, no, he needs to be able to be a coach that comes in here because we were a 9-7 team and kind of take this team to the next level and kind of have immediate success, which, I would love as well. But, I think this kind of bleeds into that. And I agree with him. I think culture definitely needs to be built. And, the guys that he named, they had success. Look, Caldwell clearly built a culture, right? But what kind of culture was it, right? We were a brotherhood and we, they played for each other. They played for their coach, and that's great. But it didn't have that really great success that we wanted them to have. It had kind of mediocre success. And, it was stagnant is what we could say. And the culture that Patricia seemingly is trying to build is a culture based on hard work, which is not what Caldwell was. It was based on, loving each other and brotherhood, which can work. We've seen Pete Carroll do it, but this system that Patricia's trying to build, I think it takes more time because what you need is for players to buy into you being a successful coach and this being a successful organization. And the Lions haven't been that for a long time. So I think it's very hard to build that culture here in Detroit. So I love that this offseason, Patricia seemingly got all of his guys to hopefully implement that culture further that were there when he had success under Belichick and that were there when he was winning Super Bowls. So, hopefully that can, translate over through osmosis or something like that.
Well, listen, it's funny because Benny Bleav talks about Matt Patricia and he talks about Jim Caldwell and he talks about a host of other things. But what Benny Bleav is suggesting right here is that culture is built by the players. In fact, he goes on to say it down the road, but we're going to get to it. What do you think, Jim? What is your thoughts on this idea of what Benny Bleav is saying, culture?
It's difficult for me because, yes, players do kind of police themselves and create their own culture, but who brings the players in?
Oh, Jim, get out of my head, Jim. Get out my head, Jim. That's exactly what I was thinking. Who brings these people in? If you're going to, Jim, go ahead, Jim. My bad. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah,
go ahead.
And that's my concern. So it's like we have Quin and Patricia. They're putting their heads together. Quin's general manager brings in his coach, and is trying to build their culture through the players that they bring in. Yes, the players do create a culture here, but I think it's the coach and the general manager in this situation actually builds a culture because they're getting the players that they are putting on the field.
Listen, I'm just saying. Listen, I see OMG in the building talking. He's saying Benny told the truth. He already on board. Go ahead, OMG. What's your thoughts on this? I mean, to me, he said so many things. I mean, he talked about Stafford. He talked about it was a lot that went on here. I'm just gonna hit on as many of them as possible. What are your thoughts about his idea of culture?
I mean, his idea of culture is right. But the thing is it has to be changed, and you can't leave it up to the players to change the culture. The players are going to just do the same thing that they've always known. So he's brought in his guys, as they all say, to kind of change the culture. But as for it falling on the players, they can't really fall on the players because the players been here, and what have the Lions players done this decade, but be up, be down, be up, be down. So it has to fall on the head coach and the GM and the type of the players and the quality of people they bring in. And it goes with attitude adjustments, man. And I think they did some weeding out, which rubbed people the wrong way. But I mean, if it had to be done, it had to be done, man. But this year ain't no excuses. So y'all got y'all culture.
Listen, it's crazy to me because now, before I go into the further, the general review says I have to check that podcast out. It is linked in the description, people. I have the actual link into it. They don't just talk Lions; they talk all sports. But there's sectionals to it. Like in this case, Derek does the Lions proportion of it. And they've had Benny Bleav on a number of times. He is absolutely hilarious, in my opinion. But sometimes he said some things that I'm like, what the hell did Benny just say? Benny said a lot in this interview, and I can't wait to get into it. J-Mo, what is your thoughts about what Benny Bleav said about the culture?
Well, it's not like he was necessarily like wrong, but I do feel like everything, as much as we don't like it, everything that he was alluding to was what Caldwell already built when he was talking about guys trusting each other and trusting your teammates. Well, I'm thinking about the Lions the last 4 years. This was a team in the fourth quarter. We were coming back. Now we lose every game in the fourth quarter. Stafford hasn't had. Hey, man, bro.
Leave it to J-Mo. I told you J-Mo finna be lit. Okay, go ahead, J-Mo.
Look. And, like I was saying, so Stafford hasn't had a fourth quarter comeback under Matt Patricia. And if he has had, it's only been one. So we turn from a team who does depend on, regardless of the wins and losses, our team never gave up. Our team went 1-7. And didn't give up under Jim Caldwell. Our team loses Stafford and they pack it in. So, and I've said this before, I don't think Caldwell loses every single game without Stafford. Like, you can't get me to believe that. I'm not saying he gonna win a lot of games, but he ain't losing to the Redskins. Best believe that. But regardless of who's the better coach, I don't care about that. I'm just talking about what Bleav said. What Bleav said is what Caldwell was actually, doing, and now the results aren't what we wanted, so we made it. We've gone in a different direction. That's cool. If you guys want to move on from Jim Caldwell, I have no issues with that. But I think it's not on the players, it's on the coach, because I'll keep bringing up the Rams, man. The Rams had basically the same squad that first year. Like they got all them free agents that second year, but they literally had the same team, like 85%, like just the same team, and they were just better. Just because Sean McVay brought something different. And sometimes, players aren't the best players in the world, but they achieve because of the culture that can be brought to a team. So I just think that he's not necessarily wrong, but to me, it's more on the coaches and the management than the players when it comes to building a culture. And for better or worse, Jim Caldwell was trying to do that. It didn't work out. I don't got a problem with that. But, I think go ahead. Yeah, that's it.
Listen,
I was about to keep going.
Listen, J-Bo. The reason I did it like this is I knew a lot of people had not seen this. I didn't see none of my fellow Lions YouTubers talking about this, and I'm like, this is gold. This man was saying, listen, when y'all hear where he feel about rookies coming in to the league, and when y'all hear what he feel about Matt Patricia, it's gonna be intriguing, people. It's gonna be intriguing. So again, it is linked in the description. The entire link is in the description, so y'all can see it. Now, let's talk to you, One Pride Nation. You know, what are your thoughts? Is Benny Bleav right about this culture and saying that it's built? Because what he's saying is, if you come to the New England Patriots and you think you finna have asset, is Tom Brady gonna be okay with that? No. But to me, I also took it as him saying Matthew Stafford must be okay with it. You know, like if you tell me, like I don't think you can just come here and not be held accountable by players, let alone Stafford. I've seen Stafford cuss you out in game, on live TV, in real time. So that's what I'm saying. I know, so it's all a bunch of crap. I got it. I got this. I got us. Okay. So my question to you is, One Pride Nation, what are your thoughts on Benny Bleav's thoughts on culture?
It's like, you guys can hear me, right? First.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm asking One Pride Nation.
I'm just like, with the whole culture thing with Patricia, I'm like, you know, if you're gonna lose, like if I'm on that team and I know we're going to lose, what am I doing? Like, why am I working so hard in practice if I know we're going to lose anyways? I feel like, I don't know. It's just tough. But I do agree with what he has to say, though.
Well, listen.
Wait, can I ask you this, though? But isn't it up to a coach to have you believe that you're not going to lose every week? Even when you lose everybody, you look at the and I just want to say something. I'm not just bringing up teams from this season. Why do we act like we haven't seen teams throughout the years lose everything and still find a way to be competitive and win games? And you know, I know the Steelers, they have one of the best cultures in NFL history, but they lost everything. And I'll be honest with you, I thought they was gonna be garbage, and they was like, nah. And I know they got defensive pieces, but we've seen teams with talent lose their quarterback and lose a few pieces and just fall apart. So it's up to the coach to get that player to believe every week, week in and week out. Because like when you start off 1-7 and you go on a 5-game winning streak, that shows that you can, you know, people believe in you. When you like how the Steelers were, I mean, the Steelers lost basically their whole offense and was just like, we just gonna find a way. So.
Now, really quick to answer General Review. He says, is your son growling? Yes, he was. That's what he do when he gets ticked off. He was ticked off, so he letting it be heard and letting it be known like he ain't with that life. Now, Ryder, what are your thoughts on Benny Bleav? We got a lot to cover, so what are your thoughts on Benny Bleav, man? Take your time on it, because I want. This is just the warm-up, people. Wait till y'all get, man, Benny Bleav finna get into it, y'all. If you do not know who Benny Bleav is, shame on you, okay? Right. Shame on you. If you don't, Benny Bleav is the only reason that I wanted the number 36 jersey. Okay, It was him, and it really started with him. But it was him and Jerome Bettis. That's why I would wear 36. Benny Bleav will knock your block off and smile in your face. If you don't know who Benny Bleav is, go and look it up. Now, Ryder, what are your thoughts on what Benny Bleav said about culture?
I'm siding more with J-Mo. I think it is, you know, I don't think it's solely on the coach, but I do think the coach has a lot to do with it because, you know, like he said, you know, when Caldwell was here, they had, or I can't remember who said it, but, you know, when Caldwell was here, they had this culture of brotherhood. They have this culture that, you know, they were winning football games. But then, you know, I also think culture has to do with results because if you're not winning football games, how, you know, if your team's not winning football games, why are you going to buy into this culture? If Matt Patricia is preaching this, you know, work hard every day, you know, bust your butt, do all this for me, and then he wins 3 games a season, like, as a player, how can you respect that and respect that culture that he's trying to build? I think is my point. Like, if you're winning football games, I think it's easier to build that culture because the players are more likely to buy into it.
Listen, I think everybody hitting on it. I want y'all to keep that same energy. We got a lot to cover. We finna get back into it. Let's listen to what else he had to say. This is Benny Bleav, former Detroit Lions safety, on the Bleav podcast. It is linked in my description. Let's listen.
Tanner would have dealt with that? No. Players build culture. You're not going to take less than 100% from a guy. And that's why during those 90s, we believed so much in one another to where culture was built. I go back to my first 2 years in Detroit. Man, there was no culture there. I mean, look, coming from the U, where culture was built down there those 4 years because we all believed in one another. And then you go to a locker room where there was, what? Man, why are you here?
Now, all these players get on my nerves sometimes. Benny Bleav is basically saying that when he left the University of Miami, a.k.a. the U, which in this case, they're going to say it a few times. It's all about the U, baby. They're going to do that a few times. He said when he got to Detroit, there was 3 things going against Detroit that made him be like he didn't want to be here. 1, he said he hates the cold weather. 2, he's like when he got here, it wasn't no culture, no direction or nothing. And he said himself, he got there like, why am I here? like, again, we're going to start this off with you, Jim. What is your thoughts about him? Even back in that time when he was drafted, which I believe was 88. I want to say it was 88. I'm drawing a blank, but I want to say it was 88. Close. Even in that time, he thought the Lions didn't have no culture. What are your thoughts on that?
I see this a lot. In fact, over the years, it's been a lot of players have mentioned that there just isn't leadership. There isn't a culture. There isn't something binding the players together in a lot of areas. So it was like, I remember when there's just so many players that have left here and trashed our team. So, I mean, you gotta believe that there's something to it when a lot of players are saying it over the years. You know, Rodney Peete goes to Dallas and says, I just went from the outhouse to the penthouse. It speaks volumes about your organization.
It's intriguing. Real. What are your thoughts? I mean, he said when he got here, it wasn't no culture. Now, mind you, that was during the era when they was just switching over to Wayne Fontes. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I believe him, you know, and he said that he built that culture. Not he, but the team built a culture while he was there. And I mean, I think that showed. I mean, he had success with the team, and the team had success in the 90s that we haven't really seen since. So, I mean, I believe him, and I believe that culture needs to be built here, you know, and a couple of guys said that Caldwell had a great culture or that he had a culture. Look, I really don't think that he had a great culture. I really don't. I think that he was a really nice guy and a father figure to many of these young men. And I think that he was a very good people's person and they wanted to fight for him. But when it comes down to being a competitive organization and a culture based on winning, I don't think that Caldwell had that. And I know I'm bringing it back to Caldwell, but, you know, I spoke first time. So, you know, everybody got to speak. I just wanted to jump in on everybody, but, you know, but anyway, yeah.
I mean, real, I'll just ask you, what coach has been winning with the Lions in your lifetime the most?
What coach won the most? Oh, Caldwell, yeah.
All right. And, like, I don't even have to debate. I'm going to just leave it at that. I know I'd hate Caldwell.
There's
but
no debate there.
We can't disrespect what he did here. And I just think we always do that over and over because we were trying to upgrade to somebody much better. But he did build a culture here, and it was good. The Lions weren't laughing stocks. People were like, okay, we're going to have to go out and beat this team. We say what you want. We winning record over 4 years.
Look. Whoa. I just want to say this. I don't want to.
Go ahead, Real. Go ahead, Real.
Okay.
I knew this was going to be brought up.
It was the dark ages.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't know about that. We had Schwartz just before that, and I thought that was a pretty
Schwartz
good
had only
culture.
one good year with us.
I don't know, man. I like that defense.
All I'm saying is Benny Bleav already got us fighting, and that's a shame. Already got us fighting. But go ahead, Real. Finish your thought, man.
I don't want to hijack the topic because it's completely, you know, I'm not trying to make it Caldwell versus Patricia, but, you know, with Caldwell, I personally feel like we've gotten to see, you know, what he can accomplish with that team. We really did. He didn't have setbacks like Patricia did, where he lost his quarterback for half the season. And then, you know, we didn't really 2018. We didn't really have Ziggy on, so that D line was really hit. And then once we got Snacks Harrison plugged in there, and that D line was playing at an average, maybe above average level, the defense was clicking. We looked pretty damn good at the end of 2018. Started 2019, like I bring this up every single week. Started 2019, we looked honestly like a pretty damn good team. Yeah, the first game was awful. That loss at the end of the game, I'm not even gonna call it a tie. It was a loss. It was terrible. But you know how the team bounced back, beat Philly, beat San Diego or LA. You know, we almost beat Kansas City, and honestly, it was a fluke play away from beating Kansas City. I hate saying it, but you know it is. And you can't just be like, oh, if it was a better coach, oh, he would have won that game. Like maybe not. You know, it was a fluke play that we lost that game. It was a BS calls that we lost the Packers game, and then you know it all derailed in the Vikings game, and then you know Stafford was out. So I feel like because of the context and because of what has happened and transpired during Patricia's era, we haven't gotten to see what he can really accomplish and what kind of culture he can really build. And we're going to see that this year now that he brought in more of his guys that are automatic buy-ins to his system because they're coming here knowing what to expect. That's all I got to say about Patricia.
Okay. Now, Ramon the New Age says, so are the Staffords really suing the NFL over the COVID-19 thing? That is a rumor. The thing that y'all got to remember, whenever it comes to anything like a lawsuit or anything like that, that is public record. So if that was true, somebody would be able to pull it and say, yep, they're suing. There is no public record of that, people. That is a rumor. So I don't believe that is the case. OMG, what is your thoughts? I mean, Benny Bleav said that he got here and that he was trying to figure out why was he brought here because this team had no culture when he came from the University of Miami.
Right. Well, the first thing we got to realize is there's a lot of teams that don't have no culture. Like the Jets, for instance, that just come off the top of my head. The teams a lot of teams don't have a culture, and the culture that Caldwell had was built off of Schwartz. I seen somebody said in the comments it was built off of Schwartz, and he tried to basically take that culture. And Patricia's came in, and he's like, screw all of that, the hell with all of that. I'm trying to build my own thing, and I'm trying to get my own players in here. I'm trying to change it for the better, so that we can go from not the comeback kids, because I'm tired of being a comeback kid, because that's all we really was. That's all our culture was. We never give up. We're the comeback kids. But I want it to be built where we go out and we dominate people. You know what I'm saying? Where we go out and we just smacking people in the mouth off rip. And we don't get down in the first quarter and then come back and then get down in the third quarter and have to come back in the fourth quarter. I just want it to be, you know what I'm saying, like that, man. And I think Patricia is trying his hardest. I don't think that he really knows how to do it. I think he's seen it done. He just don't know how. And him bringing his players in here is to help him with that. That's why I think that he brought them people in, man. So, yeah, that's my take on it, man.
I like this. Ramon the New Age says Schwartz changed the culture, Caldwell groomed it, and Patricia destroyed it.
yeah. I mean, that's basically what I said, but I said a little nicer than that.
I'm not gonna condone that, but ask Lions fans, they will put that in reverse.
I'm listening. J-Mo, listen, you heard him. Matter of fact, wait a minute.
No, I'm good.
J-Mo,
Somebody else can go. I don't got nothing to say. Y'all got
it. Listen, we gonna jump to One Pride Nation there. One Pride Nation. You heard what Benny Bleav said. When he got here, he was trying to figure out why did y'all bring him here? Because it wasn't no culture. What are your thoughts on that? So we now, mind you, we're talking about 1988, and we in 2020 still talking about damn culture. But okay, this is crazy to me. But what are your thoughts on this?
You know, I obviously have to believe them, but I think I forgot which one of you guys said it, but there's a lot of teams that don't have a culture. So it's not like we were the only team, but I feel like we're one of those teams that need to have a culture and a good culture, because the players that come in here, they see of all the losing that's been done, so there's no accountability to be taken, because ain't no culture anyways. I'm not going to get blamed for anything. So that's personally how I look at it, but yeah, there needs to be a culture and a good culture, because players can't just come in here thinking, you know what, we can do whatever we want. Ain't nobody going to stop me. All that stuff. That's how I personally think about it.
Okay, Ryder, what are your thoughts, man? I mean, what do you talk? We're still talking about culture almost a decade, it feel like. It feel like no. Matter of fact, it's longer than a decade.
Yeah.
All these smokes. Yeah, I said 88. I'm tripping. So
Over
feel
2
like
decades.
almost a century. It feels like it's a damn century. We still talking about culture, but. What are your thoughts, Ryder? When you got a player talking about he came in, it was no culture, and they had to build it at that time. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think that goes back to what I said earlier. It's about, results help build culture. Because at the U, back in the 80s and 90s, they were national championship contenders. They were winning, all these games, and the culture was obviously very good. He comes to Detroit where, quite honestly, we sucked in the 80s. And, the culture wasn't good. And then they get into the 90s. He said in the 90s, the culture got much better. And coincidentally, in the 90s, they had Barry Sanders, and they started winning, titles. They started winning division titles. They started, making playoff runs. So, I think that just goes back to the point that winning helps build that culture so much faster, and it helps cement that culture for future years.
Listen, I love what Rachel said, and it's one of the reasons why I do get on top of Patricia's head. Neither coach can keep their foot on the gas when we were up. That was my biggest concern. God, if you go to that Cardinals game, one score, field goal, I don't care what it was, the game is over, and we're trying to kill clock and playing conservative. I find it absurd. So let's get back into it, people. Let's finish letting Benny Bleav tick us off. He finna really get to the thick of it. It's finna get real. Let's go.
Like I told you, I just didn't believe in what the product they were putting out, because when players don't believe in players, you often question yourself. Why am I here giving 100%? Well, he's only giving 30.
No doubt. Hey, Benny, I got a couple quick follow-ups for you. You mentioned the word Bleav a few times. How would you spell that?
BLEAV. Believe in us.
Absolutely. And then you mentioned a school. What was that school again? I was just curious.
The U, Jerry, is all about the U. It's all about the U.
Oh, absolutely. Now I got some serious follow-ups for you. So that was a two-part question, and like the first part, is it important? I think everybody would say, oh yeah, culture is important. Like it's maybe one of the most important things to team sports. But like you said, the building part is not only the hard part, it is the important part. So I'll transition into this next question, but like you say, everybody will say it's important. How do you build it? And the building is important. So Matt Patricia came in here 2 years ago with the Detroit Lions, and they had what I call the Jim Caldwell Country Club, which was like Jim Caldwell got wins, and he had a veteran team, and he did some really good things here for the Detroit Lions. But I felt like he ran a really, they like to call it player friendly, but I thought it was a little bit weak. We'd go to training camp and, he's just standing in the middle of the field and just running these weak practices. So Matt Patricia comes in, starts cracking the whip, getting in people's faces, getting out there in practice, having a high standard, changing everything in the building. And he got beat up for that. Everybody said, oh, it's a terrible culture. The players don't respect him. All these reports are coming out left, right, and center about him. He's kind of changed a little bit here the last year or so, but I think he's still a smart, tough guy that wants to run a team similar to like the Patriots were, because he wants to get wins like that team did over a long period. Do you think that's fair? I'm sure you heard some of this about him his first couple of years. Oh man, he's a tough guy. He's rude. He's just swearing at the players. He's pushing them hard in practice. He's making them run the hills. All this stuff.
Well,
do you think that's fair or not fair?
I thought that's why we brought him in to the Detroit Lions organization.
Okay, people. It's a lot to take in. Okay. As you heard Derek O'Corey say that he thought that's why we brought him in to do just that. He's going to elaborate on that, people. So I'm going to give them their chance to elaborate. But before I do that, let's start off with you, Ryder. Is that the reason you think the Lions brought Matt Patricia in to crack the whip? Is that what you thought he was brought in because of?
I mean, I think he was brought in to take us to the next level. And if that involved cracking the whip and getting players to work a little harder at practice, if that was getting players to be a little bit more nasty, a little bit more aggressive, then yeah, but he did not come here to build a culture. He came here to win football games.
I mean, it seemed obvious to me. It just seems so obvious to me. What do you think, One Pride Nation? What is your thoughts? He believed that he was brought in to crack the whip, and that's what they thought they brought him in for. And he's going to get more into that. Now, I can see the chat is lighting up, and a lot of people is in agreement with him and believing that's what he's doing. So, you know, what are your thoughts on that? On that One Pride Nation?
Well, obviously, we all know he worked with Bob Quin. I think that was one of the major reasons is these two guys are friends. I mean, and I do believe that a little bit of the whole bring the culture in, like straighten these guys up. But I think most of it just came from, this is my friend, I'm going to hire him. Because there ain't no reason to fire Caldwell after a winning season, which, let's be honest, we don't get much winning seasons. It's like 4 in the last 20 years. But
did you say 4 in the last 20 years?
Yeah, that's what it's been.
Oh,
between like 2000 2010, I think they had one winning season. And then 2014, 2016, 2017. So
okay.
You can't, with this organization, you just can't do that. Because we don't have much winning season. You can't fire a coach after winning season. And now 2 losing streaks, straight losing seasons. But I think the main thing was Bob Quin. I think that was just because it was his friend, and I'm gonna hire this guy. He was with me when I was on the Patriots. That's personally what I have to say about it.
Okay, all right. What say you, J-Mo? Because J-Mo,
glad you went to me next.
J-Mo for the blow up. J-Mo, he said
no, because this is my thing. No, Benny Blaze is right, but you're supposed to crack the whip and win games. But look, this is my thing. I agree with what One Pride said. You don't fire a coach after a winning season, and if you do, you for damn sure better win the next 2 years. And that's what the problem is. But I don't agree. I don't disagree. No, Matt Patricia was brought here to crack the whip, so to speak. But he was supposed to win football games. Like, do y'all know we would not care about the players crying if we was winning games?
Not one bit.
Even if and I'm just speaking for me, even if we was 8-8, 9-7, I'll be all right. I'll be like, okay, let's see where this goes. but that's not where it's going. And I know Stafford did get injured, but when he was healthy, we were still losing games. So, or still, just barely above water. And I'll never forget that Arizona game. That's going to hunt me for a while. Like, say what you want about Caldwell, but I've never seen a 17-point lead blown in 6 minutes. But I think he's right. He was brought here to crack the whip, but you're supposed to crack the whip and win games. We weren't supposed to start losing. Like One Pride said, you fired a winning coach and you've been losing the last 2 years. And you didn't just fire a winning coach. You fired the only coach besides Jim Schwartz to give us a winning season. The only coach since Wayne Fonts to have multiple winning seasons with the Detroit Lions. And look, everyone knows I was not a fan of Caldwell. I wanted him out of here for a better coach. But that's my thing. He was brought here to crack the whip, but where he went wrong was when he didn't win any football games.
Well, listen, Go Lions says, at Luke and at J-Mo, if the Bears and Packers did nothing to improve their team this offseason, are they asking for their coaches to be fired? Yes. The Bears fans are already on Matt Nagy's head. He started out hot. he started out burning hot. They on his head. They like, bro, will you go get us a quarterback? Now the Packers
been on Matt Nagy's head for a while. Like, if I see anything from any type of Bears fan, because I never see things from Bears fan, they're either talking about Matt Nagy or how bad Trubisky is, or they got the defense. That's the only 3 things they're talking about.
And the Packers, what are you going to say when they go 13-3 and win a division?
Yeah.
What are you going to say?
Go to the NFC Championship game. You're not going to say nothing.
You're not going to say much in that department. Real, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, this is what he thought he was brought here to do. Is that what he was brought here to do, in your opinion? Is Benny right about that?
All right, guys. Yes, he was 100% brought in to crack the whip. Like, he was not a descendant, but he is a descendant of the Belichick tree. Like, it's obvious that's how they run things over there. Bob Quin is from there as well. We didn't like the way that we were staying stagnant with Caldwell. Obviously, we brought Patricia here to change the culture. That's exactly what we brought him here for, to create a dynasty. And has he done that? Hell no. We're not winning. All right. But if we have to go through these trials and tribulations for the potential to have a dynasty in the future, that's what I'm for. You know what I mean? That's what I'm for. Look, Caldwell, yeah, he brought us some good years, and he was pretty dang okay, right? like with Matt Stafford and with that defense, he was able to coast, and it was like 9-7, team. They were pretty damn good. But you cannot tell me that he is a good coach. Honestly, go look at the tape and look at him in the middle of the fourth quarter with that blank stare on his damn face, okay, not knowing what the hell to do. And you cannot tell me that is a good coach. He's not. I don't care what anybody says. He's not.
Real?
No, it's true. And Stafford.
Matt Patricia do the same thing. That he had that same dumb look.
At least
Matt
Patricia shows some passion. No. I've seen Matt Patricia.
Yeah, but Matt Patricia don't win.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you're right about that.
Hey, real, I'm gonna mess with you. I remember Jim Caldwell showed a lot of passion when Slay got that turnover and picked it up versus Minnesota. Remember that? He almost had a heart attack on the sideline. So,
right. And they're going to talk about that going forward because, like I said, in this interview with Benny addressed a lot of those things, and I'm not so sure if I agree that the guy on the sideline screaming and hollering is the better coach. I don't care. Now, Pete Carroll is a different person. He like in his 70s, and he's running the whole sideline with his players, so they feel that energy. But I'm not going to kill Jim Caldwell because he's not out there, hooping and hollering. There was some times that I hated the fact that he didn't defend certain bad, egregious calls. Like, that's bull, and we're not going to stand for it.
Same blank there the whole time.
Yeah, but Matt Patricia do the same thing. I'm telling you, I've seen it. I'm just saying. I don't know about that.
I've seen it too.
I've seen it. OMG, what are your thoughts? I mean, is that what Matt Patricia was brought here to do? It was to, crack the whip.
Yeah, I mean, he was brought to do two things. He was brought here to crack the whip, and he was brought here to win games, and he's only cracked the whip. You know what I'm saying? So for me, man, is I think Patricia got here, and he's like, okay, I'm on his high horse, I'm gonna do this, and he got here, and he seen how they was reacting. He was like, oh no, I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, only way I can do this is if I get my guys in here. I don't know how to control this team. I don't know how to get guys to do, because at the end of the day, that's a locker full of grown men who getting paid more than the coach. You know what I'm saying? So when you telling these guys to do stuff, man, I mean, Lions, look at Lions players, they're looking at you like, man, if you don't get out of here, man, I get there when I get there. You know what I'm saying? And I think that attitude from the players, he just didn't know what to do with that. So all he could do really was crack the whip, and that wasn't working. So we had to bring his guys in here, and this season is where I'm truly going to judge him on what it is that's being done. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Because you really can't judge it off the first 2 years, because he was coming in there first year coach trying to do the same style as New England, and Detroit wasn't having it. Okay, Slay wasn't having it. Diggs wasn't having it. You know what I'm saying? They're like, man, if you don't get your ass out of here, so yeah. What's up?
Do you think Bill Belichick would have treated them the same way?
I think to start off, he would have. I think he would have.
Yeah, I do too.
He sacked Butler in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he's got a different pedigree though. He's got 100% different pedigree. Like he's able. He listen. When Bill Belichick was like Bill Walsh and like all the other great head coaches. When I walk in the room, you listen, and if you ain't paying attention, then I'm gonna find somebody who is. But I guess when I look at it and I say I just don't buy this.
Is that what Patricia's not doing though?
Yeah, but I don't think he was brought here to do that. He was not.
It doesn't matter. He's doing it, right? He came in here and he's like, "All right, I'm going to crack the whip. The ones that aren't going to do it, bye bye. I don't care if your name is Darius."
Yeah,
Slay.
but I was listening. I was listening to Glover Quin's the DB room when he had on Jim Caldwell talking, and Jim Caldwell said something that I have to agree with, and you're going to see Benny Bleav agrees with this as well, which is you have to find a way to keep the talent that you have, because talent is hard to come by. And to me, to me, just because talent ain't, you got to find a way to bridge that gap. He felt disrespected. That's what he felt. So you got to find a way to unhinge that disrespect, in my opinion. And if he didn't do that, I don't know what to tell you. Now, Old Timer Dave says, MJD says the Lions will win the North. Bold prediction. They should. With all the people that opt out in our division, we should. We had the least amount of opt-outs. So let's get it. I'm not settling for just a playoff berth, in my opinion. But I'm just putting it out there. Now, listen, I'm finna move this forward a little bit because I want to, we got a lot to cover.
Well, I want to comment on that.
Go ahead, Jim.
If you don't mind. I think that Caldwell was a good coach, a decent coach. I'm not going to say great, but we have to respect the fact that guy had a pretty good record with the Lions. I don't know how it happened, and I honestly don't care. If you take somebody that's at 9-7 and you take him out and you bring in another coach, that's because you felt like that coach couldn't get us over the hump. So this next guy is supposed to be getting us over the hump. And the win-loss record for me, it's just atrocious. To bring somebody in to get us over that hump, that being stuck right at the first round of the playoffs or just getting to the playoffs or something like that, it's not even close. 9 wins in 2 seasons, that's ridiculous.
Absolutely. All right, if you're just coming in, we are reviewing and doing our live reaction to former Detroit Lion Benny Bleav's interview that he had on his on a podcast with Bleav podcast that was hosted by Derek Oakery. I hope I said his name right. And we're going to get back into it. Let's hear what Benny Bleav got to say in terms of coaching styles and this idea of what Matt Patricia was brought in for. I'm going to let this one play for a minute because there's a lot to be covered here.
And I love him. I'm saying everybody else
he was supposed to be a Belichick clone. Belichick is no nonsense from top to bottom. Every player has to be accountable.
Right.
I mean, in that New England's organization, Tom Brady was held accountable.
Absolutely.
So when Matt Patricia came over to the Lions, everybody from Matthew Stafford down to the 53rd man on the roster has to be accountable. So if I'm going to get in Matthew Stafford's face, why can't I get in the face of that guy that nobody knows who's the 53rd man on the roster? Everybody has to be, and that's how you build from a coaching standpoint. Now, from his standpoint, no matter what you do, Jim Caldwell was a laid-back Wayne Fontes. Wayne Fontes was a player's coach.
Mm-hmm.
But behind closed doors, like I said, Wayne would have his little inner meetings with the what he called the veterans of the team, his captains, and it was our job to go out and make sure we dictated to the other players what Wayne wanted. But to the media, Wayne was relaxed. He let us do what we wanted to do. But no, that's why we were so successful.
Now, this right here is something that really jumped out to me, people. And the reason I say that is because he describes Wayne Fontes' coaching styles. And he says to the media, they thought he was laid back and relaxed, but Wayne Fontes was a dictator. He was a monster behind closed doors, according to him. And my argument or question is to you fellas is if that's the belief or the reality, I should say, if that's the reality with Wayne Fontes, why couldn't that have been the reality with Jim Schwartz? Because the key word that he says, that's why we were so successful. The Lions were successful no matter how we want to put it under Jim Caldwell.
You said Jim Schwartz.
Also, not Jim Schwartz, but yeah, the Lions were successful under Jim Caldwell. And how come we're not given that same benefit of the doubt that Jim Caldwell was running that same type of style? And I'm gonna give credit to the host on this podcast, Derek Oakery, because he's gonna challenge a little bit of this and question what he says and call it out. But we'll start this off with you, Onepridenation. You ready, buddy?
Yeah, Mac. All right.
We'll start off with you. My question to you is why is there this strong perception that Jim Caldwell had this quote unquote soft practice, or he had this quote unquote soft demeanor for a soft team. But we just heard the same thing happen with Wayne Fontes in the media, and that could be the same for him. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think that was definitely possible with Caldwell, but I wouldn't say that it actually happened. I think behind closed doors, I think he was still that guy that was never really talking much. He was talking, of course, but not like never yelling at the guys or anything. But yeah, I don't know. He just seemed like a very laid back coach. Like, anytime I watch him, like I also did watch like the Glover Quin that was like a week ago or whatever. I watched that. I mean, he just seems like a really laid back guy that just gets to his players, but he's not. I don't personally think he might be yelling at him a little bit, but I don't think he's yelling at him like all the time, or I don't think he's ever like maybe he's throwing stuff against the wall, but it's like rarely. I just think that he was a laid back coach behind closed doors, and of course when we saw him. That's personally what I think.
Yeah, but that don't mean that he wasn't a beast. That don't mean like you ever had somebody cuss you out in a low, nice tone. I've had it happen. It's a very scary moment. Yeah, a person not yelling at you, but they still cursing you out. That's possible, right?
Yeah, that definitely is possible.
Let me ask this. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, you can ask it.
Okay, all right. So let's go on down here to you, J-Mo. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Because he paints this picture like Wayne Fontes in the public eye was such a play, but behind closed doors, he was almost like that. You know, they say, "I want a lady in the street and a freak in the bed." It was like that with him. It was night and day on who they were. And I'm asking the question: why couldn't that be the same thing for a guy like Jim Caldwell? What's your thoughts?
That's the first thing that I thought. Is if that's the way, how do we not know that Jim Caldwell wasn't that way? And we can speculate all we want either way, but I'll say this: at the end of the day, the proof is in the results. Say whatever you want, because I do feel like with Schwartz, our team had a lot of fire, but this team we went through a lot of ups and downs those 4 years, and somehow we was always coming back. Like the fact that we started off 1-7, and not for getting cheated, we would have made the playoffs that year too. And when I'm looking at the team and how they never gave up, they always won. Yes, Stafford played out of his mind. Yes, Golden Tate did a flip, and we had a fourth quarter comeback. But when I'm looking at how this team never gave up under Jim Caldwell, and I don't want to even compare it to Patricia, but Patricia and Schwartz, I've seen the team give up. And when I want to say never gave up, of course it was games where they gave up. But for the most part, they never gave up, And when I'm looking at that, it's like we really don't know what kind of coach it is. And we got to – just because a coach is laid back doesn't mean he's not doing what he's supposed to do.
I agree.
Our main problem with Caldwell is like small stuff, like technical stuff, clock management, men on the field. But to me, that doesn't mean he wasn't a good leader, because I'm just looking at how the players responded. Like I said, yes, I know Stafford was balling with all them fourth quarter comebacks we had under Caldwell, but I'm telling you, man, some of them catches, you're not catching if you don't believe in your team. And some of the times during those crazy seasons, I didn't think we were going to come back, but our team made every single play. I still remember it was a game that we actually lost, but you saw the team. It was a game against the Panthers. And we end up scoring 14 points in less than 2 minutes. Of course, we still lose the game because Eric Ebron dropped a touchdown pass. But we lost the game. Well, I had to do it.
You slid that in there.
Came back. We were down by like 20 points in that game. We almost came back in a span of 2 minutes. I remember it was the last play. Darius Slade got beat by Devin Funchess on 3rd and 10. But the team just refused to give up. And I think Caldwell needs credit for that. And he needs credit for – look, y'all call the team soft, but – how are we soft when we've been as competitive in the division as we were? The Lions have been never competitive like this since Barry Sanders. We didn't lose in the division. Caldwell had a winning record in the division. Years we was going 14-2. And sometimes you had juggernauts like Minnesota. So I don't know if Caldwell was like that or not, but if we want to base it off of results, who's to say that he wasn't?
Again, we are discussing Benny Bleav, former Detroit Lions safety, his interview with the Bleav Podcast Network with Derek Okery. Hope I said his name right. If I didn't, I apologize. But I thought you did a phenomenal job on this, and I love what you did. And like I said, I was enjoying every bit of it. Now, Rachel said the reason we know it was soft because if it wasn't, Darius Slade would have said something. Shout out to her for that quick one. But Chris brings up a very good point. If social media was the way it was now, back then, we probably would have heard something, especially from Barry Sanders' dad. So let me play some more because he's finna get into the nuts and bolts. I have not forget you, OMG. I have not forget you, Jim, and I have not forget you, Real. But y'all gonna want to be the ones to start this one off. So let's listen to the part of this.
Wayne left it upon the players. Once players police players, trust me, you have a better locker room and culture starts being built. Because how do you come into a locker room? Let's say if Matthew throws the ball 8 times, just say receiver A, and receiver A drops 6 of the 8 balls that's right in his hands. Is that Matthew Stafford's fault or that's receiver A's fault? Mm-hmm. Most people will say it's Matthew Stafford's fault.
Now, I listen. I dare anybody, and this is why I saved it for OMG personally. I dare you to say that statement is not true.
Why you gotta put me on blast like that, Luke?
Because you be on Stafford head, bro.
Hold on. Of course I am. I mean, because if Stafford is that elite guy, then you gotta be. You can't. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna go into that. But I'm gonna tackle your last question and this last statement. But first, I'm gonna start with that last question because I was gonna say something, but Go Lions said it exactly perfect, right? And that's all I'm gonna say about that. He said, I don't know if you can bring the comment back up, but he said,
he said
that Caldwell was a mentor and Fonts was a motivator. That's all that need to be said. That is exactly what they both are. And yeah, man, that comment, man, that was it. But
by the way, Wayne Fonts has openly said that he treated his superstar players different than everybody else. So that's totally. Oh, I'm sorry. He said that he treats his superstar players different than he did. He said Barry got treated different than everybody else. Period. Point blank. And he said it's just gonna be that way. His best players got treated different. So this is what Wayne Fonts said. So that kind of go against what Benny Bleav brought up. But go ahead, OMG. What are your thoughts on this? Because he's saying you got to still have this accountability in there where players can say is, where players are policing themselves. So now he's basically insinuating that the Lions organization has not had that since his time in Detroit. And so my question to you is do you agree with that? And do you agree with the idea that if that happens, Stafford will be the one getting blamed? Or
Yeah. I mean, now how everybody praises him, you know what I'm saying? And we see Stafford get intense during the games. Like we see Stafford like yelling, pointing during the games. But do you honestly think, honestly ask yourself, and this is to the whole panel, if a guy was doing something in practice or if he was conducting himself a way that was questionable outside of practice, do you think Matt Stafford is really going to say something to him?
Yes.
Absolutely, I do.
100%.
Yes.
Oh my God! Y'all not even being real to yourself,
bro. You're not watching. You're not watching.
OMG.
Did you not see him cuss out Marvin Jones for not, getting out of bounds?
Yes, I'm talking, but that's in game. I'm talking about
okay. Then how come
you have to realize
in practice and in personal life? Because when he says that's up to players, that's not just on the game. That's not in the game on the game. That's in practice. That's in regular life.
OMG. But look. When you look at the players that have left the Lions, what do they say about that? I'll leave it at that. And
hold on,
because his gameplay is off the chain.
Yeah, but OMG, hold on. If he's doing it with cameras on him in live game time, why would he not do it in practice?
Because some people live in a moment, man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Here's the thing, Here's the thing. Here's my thing.
Go ahead, Real.
What makes you think that he's not, though? And what makes you? What do you see from other quarterbacks that you think might have that makes it sound like they do that Stafford doesn't?
I mean, like when you look at, say, Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, they're gonna hold you accountable on and off the field. I just don't think Stafford has that off the field kind of, you know what I'm saying? I think he's like, okay, when it's game time, I'm gonna be on you, and you got to get this right. But like,
Okay.
you know, when the game is over, man, y'all do
That's
it. You know,
and that's
But
just a
what have you
feeling. You don't
seen?
got nothing to back that up.
Yeah, but
I mean,
what? Yeah,
no, I
what have
know,
you
I
seen
know.
from Aaron
You're right,
Rodgers
Damo.
that you think that Aaron Rodgers would do that, or Tom Brady? What have you seen from them though that they do that?
The ego. the ego.
What?
The ego is not. Man, you ever seen? Does it really look like if you say something to Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, like they not like that's their ego? It seems like if you say something to Stafford, he gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna talk to you during timeout. You know what I'm saying?
What?
Man?
Oh my god,
Man, you gotta look.
Y'all
I don't
not,
know.
man, y'all not being realistic right now.
No,
man.
No,
God,
you're
you
not
gotta
being
be
realistic.
man,
You're the one that's off.
No, man, y'all being
Oh,
insane.
No, wait.
Okay, hold
No,
on. Time out.
I didn't get
Time
to
out.
talk, so I'm
Time
gonna
out.
talk.
Time out. Jim, take the wheel, Jim. You got it.
All right. So wait a second now. Okay, Stafford's leading practices in the streets and stuff on fields in the off season. He's bringing people in with him and he's coaching them up, the young kids. So tell me how he's not a leader. That makes no sense whatsoever.
I didn't say he's not a leader.
well,
I
no,
never
You,
said-
you
OMG.
basically
I never
said
said
that.
that. No, I
But-
didn't. I said off the field, like on the field, he is that guy. He is a leader. He's intense. He does it.
OMG.
I just don't think
Did
he
you
holds
hear what
people
DeAndre
accountable.
Swift said about Matthew Stafford after they got practice? And he talked about how hard Matthew Stafford was on him. Bro, like that dude a different breed when the camera's not on. DeAndre Swift was literally like, "Yo, I wasn't
Hey,
at our first workout."
hey, listen. Ramon the New Wave. I need to give him comments of the day. He on it.
Exactly.
He said that pick of Stafford, School, and Swift this summer say different.
Exactly.
That's because
Me and
Stafford
Ramon
feels
been
the
thinking
heat
the
though
same
right now.
thing. We've been thinking the
Stafford
same
feels the heat right now. He feels the pressure. Like he feels like we got to do it this year. So yeah,
Oh,
Why you
my
moving the
God.
I
goalpost
do.
here?
I do.
Why you moving the goalpost? We just
All
gave
right,
you
listen.
evidence.
No, I'm just man, y'all just not understanding.
Okay,
man. Y'all looking
listen.
at it from a different point of
Let's do
view,
this.
man.
Let's switch gears a little bit. Ryder, what are your thoughts on this? Because according to Benny Bleav, he's essentially saying the Lions locker room lack player accountability. And so he points at it and he says, look, if Stafford throw the ball to player A and player A drops 6 of them, are people going to blame the player A or Stafford? He immediately said most people blame Stafford. Now, he's going to say something after that, which I stopped it there for a reason. That was just for OMG. But I stopped it there for a reason because that is the reality that happens with this quarterback. What are your thoughts on this?
Nah. First of all, that's the receiver. Like that's all on
Is your name right or wrong?
That's all on the receiver. No,
Right,
because
right.
I call it, but I'm honest and I'm not biased one side. I call
Okay.
it the situation like I see it.
Okay,
And
well,
that
listen.
situation, that's on the receiver. Like you gotta
Okay, listen.
Welcome.
But we on Ryder right now. We heard your view. You got one person in the chat talking about something. Is he drinking today? No, he's not. He got a strong view, and I think he has some valid points in there. And he had people who agree with him. Go Lions agree with him. But a lot of people was trying to figure out like what in the hell is going on. I'm entertained by this because, like I said, Benny Bleav's conversation I knew was going to get some emotion. So I wanted to do this. This is awesome. Ryder, what are your thoughts, man?
Well, first off, if Stafford throws 8 balls into the wide receiver's hands and the wide receiver drops it, that is in no way on Stafford. And, I think the fans are going to put it there because, some fans just hate Stafford. But, nobody's blaming Stafford for Eric Ebron being a bust. We hate Eric Ebron, and nobody's blaming Stafford for him dropping stuff. But do the Lions lack player accountability? I don't think so. Like you guys are saying, Stafford in his first ever game with Marvin Jones is cussing him out because he didn't get out of bounds in the fourth quarter. Like obviously he knew the guy from OTA and training camp, but he's never played a real game with this guy before. And, the first real mistake that he makes, Stafford is all over him. And, and honestly, I haven't seen a very similar situation since that. So I think Stafford holds everybody, at least on the offense, very accountable for, everything that happens on the offense. I think that Stafford is, I think he is that leader. I think he holds everybody accountable.
I do too. I do. So listen, let's let Benny Bleav keep going. We got a lot. Benny Bleav said a lot, bro. Let's go.
So Matt should say, you know what? I'll take the heat in the media, but behind closed doors, oh no, look here, man, you got a problem because now you're making me look bad. That's when, you know what I mean, you start getting control of the locker room. Oh, I'll take the heat in the media, but no, bro, that's your fault. That's your fault. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Okay, I like that, but I got to ask you this. So at first it sounded like you're on board with Matt Patricia and didn't think it was fair he's getting killed because, yeah, that's what this team needed. We haven't had a tough coach. Then it seemed like you circled back to, you know, maybe he shouldn't be as tough because he just do it behind.
No.
Now I want to acknowledge Derek Oakery for this because that's exactly what I heard. He was trying to make it seem like, oh, you got to be tough and good job, and then he piggyback around. Now this is where I'm gonna say this is where Benny Bleav go full nuclear for me. This is where he really hit some nerves with me. But here we go, people. Y'all ready? Let's get this going.
Look, you got to realize now. I came from Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay. Jimmy Johnson was probably one of the winningest coaches besides Tom Landry in the Dallas Cowboy era. Okay. Now, Jimmy came from what? The U, baby. And it was win at all cost.
Yeah.
Jimmy was like, who? Wayne Fonts. I don't have to yell, scream, and kick with you in front of the media, but behind closed doors, boy, you better know your heads are going to be rolling. And you cannot fault Matt Patricia. He was groomed up under,
Belichick.
Yeah. And so when you groom a person up under Belichick, he's not friendly with the media. He's not friendly with his players. So Belichick is no nonsense, 24 hours a day. So when Matt Patricia came over, you're going to expect for him to be no nonsense 24 hours a day. And so when players, you got to remember that these kids nowadays are not used to that. They're not used to the Belichick way. So now he brings in Matt Patricia. Oh, well, you got to do it my way. And they're used to Jim Caldwell saying, well, guys, can you be a little bit more assertive? They weren't used to that. So, look, of course, his first 2 years, he's going to get some pushback.
All right, people. Again, I told you this where he hit some nuclear buttons. He said that the players was not used to somebody, you going to do it my way. It was more about the coaching style of Jim Caldwell being all like, oh, guys, you're going to do it this way and you're going to do it that way. I could not have disagreed with Benny Bleav more. He essentially said Wayne Fonts did the exact opposite. That Wayne Fonts would do things behind closed door. He said Jimmy Johnson did the same thing as Wayne Fonts because they're the same. They did things behind closed doors. They didn't do it in the media. These things that he's bringing up and trying to say that they're not used to is just simply not true from my eyes. But now the question becomes, do you think that that's what that was, that this was a group of guys here in Detroit who simply just felt like, oh, this guy coming in here yelling and hoopla and everything like that, versus what he said? Because right now, Darius Slayer's in the media again saying, in Philadelphia, you're treated like a man. On the DB room with Glover Quin talking to Jim Caldwell, he praised Jim Caldwell for treating them like men, not children. And so my question to you, starting off with you, Real, no matter if I'm starting off with Onepridenation, because I know he got to go. So I'll get this one to you, then you can bounce if you want, and you can plug your stuff, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Onepridenation, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Is Benny Bleav right that this organization has employed soft shell head coaches, and Matt Patricia came in with a totally different attitude similar to Bill Belichick? Is he right about that? And if he is right about it, my question is should Matt Patricia have came in with that attitude?
I personally don't think he's right about it because I do think Schwartz was a guy that you saw the players. The thing with Schwartz was the players were like out of their mind. Like they could do whatever they want. That was the problem with Schwartz. Under Schwartz was the players, it seemed like there was no rules. You were like, you know what, do whatever you want, because there were just so many dumb penalties, so many personal fouls, Sue stomping on multiple people's heads.
Allegedly, he
Yeah.
stepped on the head. Allegedly.
Well, he did stop on that one Packers offensive line head.
Allegedly.
But no, now he's kind of changed. But I feel like the players are so out of control under Schwartz, but he still had that culture there that the players are really rough.
Yeah.
It's kind of like those Pistons teams back in the day.
Yeah, and I'm picking it up. Yeah, you want to have a team that's kind of willing to be in a dog fight. You got to see what the fight is in the dog versus the size of the dog. So I'm definitely picking up what you're putting down. I know you got to go, so I don't want to hold you too much longer.
Yeah.
Plug your stuff. Let people know where they can find you at and how they can subscribe to your channel. Now it is linked in the description.
Yeah, so obviously I have a Lions and I post some Tigers content called Onepridenation. I have also a Twitter and Instagram that are also called Onepridenation 2. Someone took Onepridenation, but Onepridenation 2 for Instagram and Twitter. And then the YouTube channel Onepridenation, Tigers and Lions content.
Absolutely. Hey, man, I appreciate you for coming on and rocking with us. We're going to keep this show going, but I know you got to head out. So, hey, talk to you soon. All right, people, let's get into it. And now there were 6. Jim, what are your thoughts on what Benny Bleav said? I mean, they wasn't used to this. They was used to the Jim Caldwell, hey, yeah, you guys, I need you to go and do this. And Matt Patricia came in like, well, you going to do it my way. This is how he put it. And let me just before you answer that, let me answer this really quick. Go Lions says at Luke, so now you disagree with Benny Bleav? Yes, because on one hand, he said he came from the Jimmy Johnson tree. He praises Jimmy Johnson, and he said Jimmy Johnson wouldn't chew you out in the media, but behind closed doors, he did. And he said Wayne Fonts did the same thing, where he did. But then he's insinuating that he knew that Jim Caldwell didn't. So yeah, I disagree with that. And he's just insinuating that, well, Matt Patricia must be doing it. These are all assumptions, and I don't want to go on assumptions. I want to go about what the reality is. And the reality is he doesn't know that. He's not in a room on that, but he's also making statements to imply that approach doesn't work. And I'm telling you, there are coaches who do just that do that exact same thing, from Pete Carroll all the way to I'm drawing a blank on dude's name, Sean McVay. These are things that people do, and it has shown to have been successful. That's all I'm saying. But Jim, what are your thoughts on what Benny Bleav said?
Well, number one, Caldwell was a religious man. I don't believe he was cussing everybody out behind closed doors. I don't believe that. I believe his personality is what you get. I do. Did he yell at people? Maybe. I don't think it's his personality. He was more of a mentor, teacher type of a person, almost like your pastor. You know what I'm saying? I want to go too far into that, but I feel that's kind of how he was. And then Matt Patricia coming in, swearing every other word and telling people to stop sucking this since you know what.
Facts.
I mean, that is a complete culture shock when you switch from that to that. I want to say something about Schwartz, though. I think Schwartz was building an identity for the Lions. That they were going to be mean and they were going to be this. The fact that they were getting a lot of personal foul penalties, that's based on the people he was trying to bring in to intimidate other people, to intimidate other teams. And I think he wanted us to be a hard-nosed football team, smash-mouth football team. I like that style, by the way. Another thing I wanted to address from before, we were mentioning that the clock management issue and too many men on the field with Caldwell. What's different with Patricia? Because we've had the same thing.
The one thing that stood out to me the most is he wasn't really hitting on a lot of the coaching points. Like, I'm seeing a lot of the same errors that was happening with Caldwell happening with Jim Schwartz. And I agree with you on that standpoint that, what's the difference between these two when you look at some of the things, not having enough people on the field? This has happened a few times on Matt Patricia's watches as well. So I don't know what people come up with it. I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying that there's a way that coaching styles work, and it's not. You don't always got to be this I am on steroids. You ain't gotta be like that. You can just simply talk to a person and get the job done. But then at this interview, go further. Benny Bleav dived into some things that I absolutely have to believe, and that's why I can put it together and figure it out. But what do you think, J-Mo? What are your thoughts on Benny Bleav at this point, saying what the ways that it was handled?
It wasn't that, Benny. It was when you take a grown man up in front of the team, have a team meeting, and then you say what you said about Darius Slay in front of the whole team. That's the only reason why it was a problem. I think that culture shock the whole team. And to me, it wasn't a culture shock. It was more of he's disrespectful because there is plenty of ways other coaches could have snapped on Slay without saying what he said. I don't think Matt Patricia was necessarily wrong in what he was doing, but I think it was the words that he used and the way that he conveyed it. And, we don't know that you don't have to be that type of coach to be successful. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys think Kyle Shanahan is a fiery guy, but
right,
I don't think he's the most fiery guy. And you don't have to do that. To me, he came in. You're supposed to come in with your own style and not Belichick style. But I don't feel that upset about what Benny was saying. I just feel like Patricia did it wrong. And that was the problem with it. I feel like you could have brought in somebody to light a fire up under there, but don't do it in the way that you did it. And it offended Slay. It offended a lot of players, and they're all gone now. But the proof comes out into the games. If we ain't rocking with you, we ain't playing for you.
And take it a step further. If you just look at it and say, because he's going to talk about this a little bit later in this interview. He's going to talk about how you have to be able to work with difficult people if they have the talent. And when he said it, it reminded me of when the Dallas Cowboys picked up Charles Haley. Charles Haley was cussing coaches out on the sideline, telling them to kiss his butt and more grotesque things. And I'm just saying they wasn't doing that. So you can't just go that route. Let me go to you, writer, on this one. What is your overall view or feel for what he's saying at this point in the interview about how the approach was different between the two and how the players responded?
I mean, in my opinion, I think when Patricia came in, he had this idea in his head that he was going to come in and what's the word I want to use? He was going to show the players what it was going to be like from now on. He wasn't going to, dilly-dally. He wasn't going to waste time. As soon as he got there day one, he was going to show the players that he's the boss. You're going to do things his way or you're going to get out of the building. And I think he took it too far. Obviously, you shouldn't be saying that to your star player, but, I think he came in with this mindset that he was going to be the alpha right away and he was going to show dominance. And then he came in way too hot and in the process lost the respect of his players.
Agree. I absolutely agree. OMG, what are your thoughts on this?
It's like this, man. Say you come from a house, right? And in your house, everybody's respected. Everybody talks about everything, and it's real cool and laid back. And then you go stay the weekend at your boy's house, right? And his parents don't play that. Okay, if something go wrong, they whooping on him. You know what I'm saying? They taking him and he getting timeouts, he getting spankings, and you like, whoa, what are you doing? And I think that's how the Lions was when Patricia came. The Lions wasn't used to that. And I think Patricia really, really wanted to show his dominance. And because Quin was the GM, he felt even more empowered to show his dominance. And I don't think it's necessarily wrong because like J-Mo said, and like a few others said, there's more than one way to coach. And obviously that was Patricia's way that he wanted to do it. And I just don't think the players was ready. I don't think that they had the backbone to really take that, especially after how Caldwell handled things. And Schwartz was more of a, he was more of a rah-rah guy. You know what I'm saying? He was more of a, he's more of a, come on, we're going to go get him. And Patricia like, you better go get him. I'm going to bust your head. So it's, what I'm saying? So
I don't have a problem with the approach, but like like there's a way that even when I played football, right? So I had a position coach. This dude had a way of saying things to me that if you were to see me with no bulletproof vest on to charge towards a group of people with guns, he probably could have got me to do it. That's how much he can motivate me. But then I had this one position coach when I got to college, and he would say things to you, and I would be looking at him like, where I come from, you get your face bust for talking to me like that. And it was irritating. Now, they both yelled at me and said crazy stuff, but it was what the other one said. Like, you can't, you can't be like, okay, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. The best way I can do is explain like this. I remember I had a job once, and they wanted me to do something I didn't feel comfortable with, and his response to me saying I don't feel comfortable doing it was, stop acting like a bitch. I was ready to scrap. Like, what do you mean? Who you talking to? like, there's a way you can relay a message a certain way and then come off in a way that's motivating. And I think that's the job of a head coach. What are your thoughts on this, Real?
Yeah. So listen, look, I think that he was more talking about the fact that Caldwell did not give accountability. And I get what you guys said, and I didn't get to jump on the last question of maybe Caldwell did behind the scenes like Wayne Fonts. Look, I don't believe that at all. I really don't, because of what we saw with the offensive play calling throughout the entire time Caldwell was a coach. That, to me, was the worst part of him being a coach, was the fact that his offensive coordinators would slow down the game and try and run the ball up the gut, very predictable play calling, all the way until the 2-minute warning, and then they would hand Stafford the ball in order to make a comeback. It happened every single time. And you know what? Terrell Austin's defense was pretty damn good. He inherited Schwartz's defense, and he made his own adjustments, and he made it his own, and it was pretty damn good. And it kept us afloat in a lot of games and allowed us to come back at the end of the games. But to me, that was Jim Caldwell's biggest fault, and he might have been a great coach if he had somebody like a Darrell Bevell there that had unique play calling or had unique strategy to win the game or to make interesting runs or play action calls, something like that. But he didn't. And what did Patricia do the first year after Jim Bob Cooter was terrible with the play calling in my opinion, for sure. He got rid of him. He brought in Darrell Bevell, and then the defense was awful this year. He got rid of him. He brought in new guys, and that doesn't absolve him. I'm not saying that justifies the record or anything like that, but at least he's making the adjustments to where I at least see the potential. Yeah, JMO, go ahead, bro.
You said Caldwell don't hold people accountable. I'm just not buying that. I just got one question. Can you name me the only time Matthew Stafford has been benched in his career?
Facts.
I don't know.
Caldwell was like, Matthew, you go out there, throw another pick, I'm putting you on the bench for the first time in your life, boy. He went out there, threw another pick. Mans was on the bench. He holds people accountable, maybe not how we like, maybe not enough. Maybe he didn't do it enough, but to say he don't do it at all,
no. I'm not saying he didn't do it at all. I'm saying in the circumstance that I named,
Stafford, Patricia would never, ever, I guarantee it.
I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. In my circumstance that I'm saying, say I'm wrong though. Say I'm wrong though. Tell me he held his offensive coordinators accountable. He didn't.
How do
he
you
allowed
know
them
that
to continue to
hold
be
them accountable?
Miserably mediocre.
He didn't fire them? Didn't Joe Lombardi get fired?
Now listen, let me say this. Let me jump in.
They hired his quarterback coach, who is the same guy, and we thought maybe that was Jim Caldwell.
I mean, Patricia out here hired his best friends and his daddies, Paul Pasqualoni. So, what are we saying?
Yeah, and he fired him, didn't he? So we're gonna see what happens.
And Caldwell would have fired JBC. I guarantee.
All right. Time out. I want to keep this clean, but this is getting heated, people. I see what this does to us.
You gotta get the boxing gloves on.
I know. Let me address this. Go Lion says, at Luke, did you scrap? Hell no. Why were you not the alpha dog on the yard? 2 reasons. I had 2 people holding me back, and he had 2 people that was holding him back while he was walking away. He caught me at the right time because the younger me did not care about that job. I was like, nope, I might as well go ahead and get in trouble. But some coworkers held me back. No, trust me, the scrap game was going. I took off after him when he said that. So I was highly upset. But let's listen to Bitty Blaze a little bit more, people. he getting the blood flowing a little bit. Let's go, people.
To me, you got to stay the Matt Patricia way. That's how you build your brand in Detroit.
People, I say that little part just for that. Benny Blaze said we got to stay the Matt Patricia way. Now, there's going to be a lot of people who have believed this from Shade. I know he believes this. I want to say Marcus Landis said this same thing, that we got to stick with this approach. I'm trying to figure out. I think even JGB might have said, I can't remember, but I know that those two, Shade and Marcus Landis, were big people on that. We got to stick with the Matt Patricia way. Let me let him get a little bit more out on what he means by this, and then we're going to address if we should stick with the Matt Patricia way.
If guys don't like it, you're going to have more times than not, you're going to have guys that want coaches to tell them what they're doing wrong if you want to be a success. Now, if you just want to be an average player, yeah, you could just come and make the money and just be in the league and not ever be a superstar.
So, Ben.
So we're going to open this one up with you, Real. What are your thoughts? Do we need to stick with the Matt Patricia way? And if we do, how long is that?
Look, I don't think we necessarily have to stick with any kind of way. No, I don't think that needs to happen. But if you're saying for this year, or at least to see it, because my whole thing has been, we need to see what Patricia can potentially do, because I've always been behind this belief where we haven't seen it all yet. There's something more behind the curtain. If that, comes to, if it comes to fruition, great. If it doesn't, and we finally see that, no, this was not the guy, great. I just don't want a situation to happen where 10 years down the line, we're looking and another team has picked up Patricia and they've won 3 Super Bowls and we're sitting with our thumbs up our asses like, what did we do? Why are we still looking at coaches and stuff when these guys got a guy that brought a culture there and did something with it? Because I felt like there are coaches
that's a little unfair, Real. I think that's a little unfair. And the reason unfair? I said it, the idea that if he ended up going somewhere else and having success somewhere else, that's exactly what Bill Belichick did. He used the Cleveland Browns as a proving ground and got things going the way he wanted to, got to New England and did things different. In this case, that would be the similar example where we were the proving grounds for Matt Patricia, where he worked all his BS kinks out and now can go somewhere else and be successful.
I don't understand so what? So you're telling me that the Browns shouldn't have kept Bill Belichick? Is that what you're saying right now? No,
I'm saying that the idea that you presented, which was you don't want him to be let go and he go somewhere else and have this success, and we sitting there with our thumbs up our butt trying to figure out why we let this guy go. And I'm telling you, that's not fair, because this is his first head coaching job ever on any level. I'm talking high school.
So was Bill Belichick on the Browns.
Right, but the Browns let him go, and when he
which
left,
was a bad move, which is a move I don't want the Detroit Lions to make, is what my point is.
But it's not a bad move, because the circumstances between the Browns and the New England Patriots are two different things. They two different things. The New England Patriots, when he got there, they came in with a plan. He wasn't coming into New England with an already losing record and only one winning season. He only had one winning season in Cleveland. How much time?
No. I'm not saying that he would replicate his success in New England with the Browns. All I'm saying is he's probably the best coach of all damn time. You know what I mean? And it took a little while for him to show that. And if the Browns would have kept him, maybe they would have won a Super Bowl by now, is what I'm saying. And I want to be that team.
And I'm going to just say...
Hold on, Jamal. I want to hear him.
No. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to be the same type of team like the Browns that 10 years from now, we still don't have a Super Bowl, and we gave up on a guy that potentially could have taken us to a Super Bowl and might do it somewhere else if given another opportunity.
Okay, so first of all, let me slow us down for a second. HaterHouse710 says, "What up? Hashtag Detroit versus everybody. Today is my birthday, so happy birthday to you, haters.
Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday, Haters House.
I'm glad that you are here. You are here celebrating it with us, and listen, I hope you are still in a sober state. I know some people like to get lit and toe up from the flow up, so I'm happy you here listening. So, hey, may God wish you with many, many more. Let's jump this over to OMG. What are your thoughts about what Benny Bleav saying? We got to stick with the Matt Patricia way.
I think Benny Bleav is saying that from an old school perspective. I mean, maybe we do need to stick with the Matt Patricia way, but I think Benny Bleav is speaking at it from, coaches, how they coached and talked to players back then, and how, players responded to the coaches back then. And I think Patricia is kind of trying to replicate older coaches' style, and maybe the Lions players do need that. I mean, because maybe we are too accepting to miscues, you know what I'm saying, at important times, on a third down and somebody jump off and false start. How many times that happened where it's like 3rd and 2 and then we get a false start, now it's 3rd and 7? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or maybe a guy drops a wide open pass and he's like, oh, hands in the air, and he look confused. Like, no, that was you, bro. You dropped it. So you know what? I see where he's coming from, because he wants somebody to hold the players accountable. He wants somebody basically to be on the player's ass, because I don't think we've had a coach in recent history that's been on these players' ass. And I think maybe that might be what we need in Detroit. We might need somebody to come in here and be like, hey, you know what I'm saying, and hem you up. I mean, maybe that's what we need, Detroit. I don't know. I ain't against it because we ain't won nothing, so I'm down for anything.
Okay, all right, Jim. What are your thoughts? We got to stick with the Matt Patricia way.
There's a lot of people that know a lot about football that keep saying the same thing, that Patricia's smart, give him time, all this other stuff, and you know what? Fine, but you got to start winning. I mean, bottom line is, it's about wins and losses. It's about getting it done. And if you're not getting it done, I mean, excuses be damned. You can't win 9 games in 2 seasons. I don't care who you lose. You just can't lose. You just can't lose that much, and continue and continue and continue. Like you're building something when we ain't building nothing but losing.
Hey, I ain't mad at you. Hey, Ryder, what are your thoughts? Do we got to stick with the Matt Patricia way?
I mean, to Jim's point, like, there are a lot of smart football minds that are saying give Patricia a chance. So, I mean, if all these people are saying it that, have played the game of football, have been around the game of football for all their lives, I mean, if they're all saying it, they must see something in him, is my thing. But then, I also look at it, and his first year, as we said, he came in way too hot and was trying to prove he was the alpha, and, way overestimated what he needed to do to prove that. But then in his second year, he showed improvement. He showed that he recognized that, I came in too hot. I understand that. And we even heard from Darius Slay, the person that in the NFL hates Matt Patricia the most. Even Darius Slay came out and he said, Patricia was much better his second year. He was a little bit more laid back, He wasn't, he was still tough on us, but he wasn't calling us out in the middle of team meetings. He wasn't saying these things in his second year because he recognized his mistakes from before. So, I mean, to me, that shows that he understood it. He understood that he made a mistake and is trying to fix it. So, to me, that shows development and growth. So, I don't know how that's going to affect, how we win football games. I don't know how that's going to affect the culture or how that's going to work. But to me, from year 1 to year 2, Matt Patricia showed growth as a person and a coach. So, I don't think that we could write him off and say that it's, a failed experiment just yet.
Well, Steve-O says Bill Belichick built the Browns team that won the Super Bowl after they moved to Baltimore. No, he didn't. If I'm not mistaken, the Baltimore Ravens were brought back after a year of football had been played. That was a whole different assembled team. That wasn't the same team. It wasn't like they just upped and left Cleveland and went to be the Ravens. No, there was no Cleveland Browns. Like that's what happened. There was no Cleveland Brown team. Then the Browns got their team back, and that Baltimore Ravens team after that ended up getting a number of players in the draft. That 2000 draft, they got Jamal Lewis. They added an offensive lineman, I think it was, and they added some other people already. That wasn't a team built. None of them players played on the Cleveland Browns. I'm almost sure of that. I could be wrong, but I'm almost sure that wasn't what happened. J-Mo, you the last on this. Should we stick with the Matt Patricia way?
100%, absolutely yes. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because like I don't care how much you don't believe in Stafford. I don't care if you like the man. If Stafford ain't here, we got 25 years. I'm telling y'all right now, before we get any another chance close to winning, unless we go 0-16, then y'all know we'll be there.
25 years?
Yeah, Jim, how long has it been? Jim,
Been a long time.
it's been 25 years since Barry, right?
That's right.
Right, Jim?
Yep. And
All
how
right.
long has it been since we had a quality quarterback in Detroit? Besides
50
Stafford?
years. Oh, 60
Yep.
years, actually.
Yep.
So my point,
Bobby
like, hey,
Lane.
you say 25 years, real, but look at the evidence. And I might be nice by saying 20. And I said, look, we go 0-16 and we'll get the quarterback. But that's my thing. My thing is if this doesn't work, I don't think Stafford's going to be here, whether y'all think he's going to retire, whether he gets traded, whatever. And if we don't have a quarterback like that, then we're going to be dead in the water. So I need Patricia's system to work. I need the team to buy in. I need you guys to go out there and deliver and win games because I feel like every team has a window. Our window is right now. So we got to try to win what we have because after that, the only way to get another good quarterback is literally going 0-16 and hoping you don't miss on that guy. Like when I say literally going 0-16, it's like Lions fans don't realize we literally gonna have to go 0-16 to get a quarterback of Stafford caliber. Like we're gonna lose every game again if you want another guy that's gonna be able to carry a franchise. Yep. And that's what I'm terrified of because if Patricia don't work, Stafford not here. We dark ages, 3 wins, 2 wins, 1 win, 0 wins, and we'll get lucky and get the QB. But what is that QB coming into? Probably a 1-15, 0-16, 2-14 team.
I think you forgetting though, man. Is I mean I feel what you're saying. I'm not against nothing that you're saying, but I think you forget that Jim Schwartz built this team on defense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but hold on, Jimmo, hold on.
And Patricia is trying to build this team on defense and the run game. So the whole we're not going to ever be nothing after Stafford leaves is not totally true because we're getting more of a West Coast type system, which you don't really need a super talented quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
Like look like we needed him last year.
We are the deep. That's where I gotta stop. But
we're building.
Hold on, really quick. Hold on, really quick. Let him go.
It's not the same roster as last year. Like this year, we're gonna have a bona fide run game. Like we're gonna really be able to actually run the ball. That in itself is gonna change everything.
Okay.
Because ain't nobody ever been scared of the Detroit Lions running game. Ever. Okay.
Well, Javid best. But I just feel like they
weren't scared.
Hold on.
Yes, they were.
Hold on, really quick.
To run the ball.
Let me get in this building really quick. I want to do this really fast because I have left this comment on the screen because this World of Sports Network, he did a video recently ranking the head coaches of the NFL, and he had Matt Patricia rated as the 28th coach. And he's like, yeah, I like the Lions. I don't know why, but he said he hates this head coach. And if you have not seen this video, you should check it out. So definitely go and check him out and subscribe to him. I'm definitely a subscriber of his, and I like what he over there doing. So make sure you check out his channel and give him some love and some praise. Now,
he agrees with you.
I was about to say I ain't even.
No, listen. No, I like what he's doing because he's covering an array of teams, and he's doing this ranking thing, and he gives his reason to it. And I just kind of like what he's doing over there. Not that I agree with him or disagree with him, but I like what he's doing over there. You know, I'm just saying. Let me get us to so we can get to the last parts of Benny Bleav, and we can close this out. Let's finish Benny Bleav's conversation.
Up over here, it sounds like you BLEAV in Matt Patricia. Is that right?
Look, I believe in Matt Patricia. I love Matt Patricia.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh man,
Matt Patricia is one of those throwback coaches. You got to love him. You got to. I just want him to get some of those players. Those sometimes you need maybe like 8 or 10 of those throwback players that's gonna do all that dirty work.
Now, this is where I'm going to stop this because what have we here on DSA been saying for them, particularly me? Where's our bad guy? This is the thing that I don't get. We keep getting all these choir boys. How you gonna have a supposed throwback coach who refuse to get throwback players? I don't understand this. Who is the throw? What player on this team is throwback? Go ahead, I'll wait.
Logan Stenberg.
Oh,
I was gonna say somebody like Tracy Walker, but Logan Stenberg is definitely throwback. That's big nasty.
Listen. So Logan is supposed to be the throwback player.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. He hasn't taken a snap yet. We don't have the bad guy. We don't know he's a bad guy in college. This is NFL. Show me the bad guy. I want the bad guy on the Lions roster. You can't give me somebody who ain't took an NFL snap and didn't even have a legitimate offseason.
Oh, I kind of can. Look at his track record, man. Mr. Nasty even has T-shirts made up.
We are not
dudes, man.
We are not doing the Mr. Nasty thing, okay? We are not. He has had. We are going to campaign for a new name. We're not doing Mr. Nasty time. We're not doing that, okay? That's not what we're doing, okay? I'm just saying. So I wanted to jump on that, but let him keep going.
Because think about it. Besides the Tom Brady's in New England, most of those defensive players are what? Throwback players. They play multiple positions, and so you need that. That's what we're gonna need in the Lions organization to get back to where I know I want them to be. That's winning. What is that? The Central now? The North? What do you call it?
It's the North now, Benny. It's the North.
It's the North now. So we're gonna need some of those players. So I'm tired of the Green Bays. Now the Minnesotas are starting to take over for the Green Bays. I don't like those guys very much. So I need for my Lions to be on top of the division.
It's coming, Benny. It's coming. I'm telling you, this year, next year, watch out for these Lions. But I think yes,
Derek,
yes, sir.
I am also a fan.
Oh yeah.
Look, I told you I only have a little bit of patience when it comes to rookies.
Yeah.
And like I told you, after that 6-7 game of the season, Mr. Okuda, if you're listening, you're gonna have to strap it up and you have to be a player.
And right there brings us to our next question. Is Mr. Benny Bleav being fair in saying that his evaluation of patience is only 7 games? For our 3rd overall pick, we're going to start this off with you, J-Mo. Is this fair?
Wait, he said 7 games for what?
He said, Mr. Okuda, at the 7th or 8th game, I'm going to need you to strap it up and be a player.
I feel like the COVID year makes things different, but if I was judging it as a regular NFL season with no COVID or anything, hell yeah. By the 7th game, you need to be strapping up. We drafted you 3rd overall, and I know cornerbacks have a learning curve, but I need you to put on them big boy pants. And you'll have Trufant taking most of the number ones. Oh, you're gonna be getting thrown in the fire them first 7 weeks. But I just need you to be strapping up. Like I need him to have a Denzel Ward caliber rookie season, and maybe Denzel Ward rookie season isn't good enough for some of you guys. But at least on that level, and by week 7, I need to see something. I mean, for the people to say we don't, I'll just say Amani Warrior. Of course, the pressure wasn't on him, but did we see something from him by week 7 or 8 when he finally got on the field? Yeah, we did. Why can't we see the same thing from Okuda? If the Lions showed me anything, it showed me that they can develop a cornerback within a span of a couple months, and they did it with Amani. I think Okuda will get thrown in the fire. He'll struggle a bit, but after week 7, week 8, I need to see something from you, for real. 3rd overall, my guy.
Okay, let's jump over there to you, Real. Is he right, and is he fair to say at the 7 to 8 games I need for you to be a player? Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, obviously depends what he means by be a player. Does he mean every single game he's got to have 5 passes defended? I mean, that's just unrealistic. But does he need to have an impact game to really show that he's a dominant player in this league? Yeah, I Bleav he does. I mean, Hawkinson did. And in his first game, he showed he could be very, very dominant. And unfortunately, he had injuries, and Stafford had injuries and stuff, so it didn't pan out for the rest of the season. So we're excited to see what's to come because of the impact time that he had on the field. And that's what I want to see with Okudah. You have to see, like, he has to prove that he's a guy to be, trifled with at the cornerback position. Yeah.
Okay. Now, hold on a sec. Steve-O says, Luke, Google Belichick's influence on the Ravens. He was their head coach in 95, and they moved to Baltimore in 96. He was the reason Ozzie Newsome became their GM. Yeah, but they didn't win a championship to what, 2000? Like a lot can change in that span. That's a hell of a change in a period of time. Seriously, I can't sit there and say that's a Bill Belichick remnants when it's 4 years after the fact. I just think that's a little, I don't know. I mean, you could be right, I could be wrong. I don't know. It's just weird. But
I was gonna say, real. I like the fact that you said Hockenson. Regardless of what you think about it, in his first game, he showed us that he could be a problem, and that's what we got to see from Okudah. I mean, you got literally half of the best wide receivers in the league, so one of them you need to clamp. Devontae Adams, Julio, D-Hop, you got to clamp one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, OMG is in the chat. Clown OMG said, hell yeah, he was fair with that comment. You don't take no damn quarterback. With the third overall.
100%.
Oh my God. Yeah. Ryder, what are your thoughts? Is that fair? Is that fair for Benny Bleav to basically tell Okudah, you got 7 or 8 games and show me you a player?
I think that's absolutely fair. And if it wasn't for this COVID-19 kind of, not having a preseason, I would say he has to show it earlier. But, with, obviously week 1 against the Chicago Bears, where he's going to be going up against Allen Robinson and the Bears receiving court. I know that's not the best in the league, but, that's his first really game experience. So he might have a learning curve there, but he's going to be going against some of the best guys in the league for, the first couple weeks of the season. I can't remember who said it, but, in the first 7 weeks, he's going to be going against D-Hop, and he's going to be going against Michael Thomas and Julio Jones, Allen Robinson. He's going to be going against all these guys. And, by week 7, he's going to have the experience of going against the top guys, and he better be able to clamp down and bite back, because if he's not ready, those guys are going to take his lunch money, so he better be ready to hit back to week 7.
I like that.
Yeah. All right, Jim, is it fair for Benny Bleav to basically say that he only got a little patience with rookies and it's short, and he basically told Jeff Okudah that, hey, you got 7, 8 games, you better strap them shoes up and be a player?
No, I totally agree. I got 2 points to this. Just number 4 overall, Patrick Peterson. Number 5 overall, Deion Sanders. So you were picked number 3 overall, man.
Yeah. Sean Springs was taken in that area, I think, too.
I mean, Jim, just let's lower the standards a bit. Sheesh. That hurt me when you said Deion Sanders. Patrick Peterson, man. Straight Pro Bros, bro.
Yep, but you know what? That's the truth, though. They were at pick 4 and 5, and he's picked 3rd. So what are we supposed to expect out of him?
Exactly.
Hey, I'm just saying. So you say it's fair?
Yes.
All right. So listen, people, this is the time I'm gonna give y'all a few minutes to ask us some questions. Again, the entire interview he had on this podcast, shout out to Bleav podcast with Derek Okori. It is linked in my description. So whether you're on a DSA channel or you're on my channel watching this, it is still linked in the description. You want to check that out. Also, I want to thank special guest Onepridenation for coming on. Make sure you subscribe to him and check him out, because like I said, he handles his business. But this is y'all time to access whatever y'all want. Benny Bleav has been talking, and I'm telling you, you're going to want to hear this whole interview. I just don't have the time to play it for you. But there was a lot of key parts, and I just took a small sample of it, which is I only gave y'all really only about 13 minutes of what he said. He said so much that it was crazy. So put those questions in there, and we'll get to them. Let's listen to Benny talk a little bit while y'all get those.
1 second, Luke. I got to answer that question.
I thought I asked you already.
No.
Oh, okay, my bad. Go ahead, shoot.
Yeah. First off, I'm gonna give him till halftime. Okay. hey, I'm just like Jim said. Just like Jim said. Okay. Dion was number 5. You're number 3. Okay, so even though the Lions shouldn't have took him that early, there's no excuses. Like, we always got like, oh, we got to give him this. Oh, nah, man, no excuses. It's time to play. Okay, so that means, you're going to do your little rookie mistakes, but with them halftime adjustments, you better come out and you better man up, especially when you own Chicago's number 2 receiver, whoever that is. You better be a lockdown because I only see Trufant staying for 1 year. Maybe he might live out those 2 years. But that second year, you're going to be the man. So you got to come out week 1 and show me something. You got to prove to me. You got to prove to me that you can lock down Chicago Bears number 2 receiver with no quarterback.
I don't think he's going to get their number 2 receiver. I think he's going to get Allen Robinson.
You really think they're not going to put Trufant? I would rather have Trufant on them. I think
here's the thing: we didn't do a lot of traveling. Devontae Adams came out and said it that he knew our coverage because we didn't do a lot of traveling cornerbacks and stuff. So I suspect they're gonna do the same thing.
Yeah, but Underland gonna mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, he gonna mix it up. So that vanilla defense they ran under the crypt keeper ain't gonna be.
I'm sorry, OMG. Valerie said 13 minutes of that interview was way too much.
Uh-oh.
She crazy, man. I don't know how Jim doing it, man. I don't know how he's doing it.
Poor Jim.
Okay, so listen, we got some questions out here. Motor City Thanos, shout out to him. He says, if Okudah starts, how many INTs will he get this season? We're gonna go through each person and do it quick. Give me a number, Ryder.
All I'm gonna say is Deion Sanders had 5 his rookie season.
he ain't getting that.
But how many did Patrick Peterson have though?
1, but Patrick Peterson also had kick and punt returns for touchdown. He was a kick and punt returner.
No, Patrick Peterson had a great rookie year. I know that. I was just asking.
I think he had like 1 or 2 that season. I'm drawing a blank.
I think he made a Pro Bowl since his rookie year. That dude made 8 straight Pro Bowls.
He did because he's a kick and punt returner. He was doing everything, man. They had that dude all over the field. But Ryder said Deion had 5, so he's expecting him to get 5 if he's starting. Damn it, that's a lot. Jim, how many are you expecting Okudah to have interceptions?
3.
3. Okay, damn.
Damn it, Jim.
All right.
Hey, I'm sorry. I mean, I think that's what I think.
I gotta make him come out.
I mean, you act like it's a hard number to choose. Like it's always like you ain't picking 8.
OMG, I take it you going with the 3 as well.
3.5.
3 and okay. OMG, that dude on The Price is Right who be like, when he bid it $9.50. $1. I mean, you mother. All right, J-Mo, how many interceptions have you starting?
Like for the whole season?
Yep.
3.
3. Okay. Real, how many?
Is this a guess or an expectation?
What you think? It's expectation. What you think?
All right, I'll guess 3.
3? I'm going with 2 people. I just think he'll get 2. He had 3 for his whole career, and I don't see him doing more than that this season. So it's possible, but
I'm not big on the interceptions.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because what's his name, Bryce or whatever from the Cowboys or whatever. He had like 1 interception, but he was locking people up.
Oh man,
Cowboys, Byron Jones,
the guy I wanted.
I don't care about interceptions. Right. I'm worried about the eye test. But
the pass breakups. Go Line says this was a great show. We appreciate that. We wanted to have fun, do something a little different. Plus, Benny Bleav, I knew was going to tick people off, and I knew he was going to say certain things to get one particular person going. 2 people when I heard that he was going to be on, which was J-Mo and OMG. I knew like once this man said some things, it was going to be all kind of conflicts. I knew it. And then when Real said he was joining, I said, "Oh, I'm about to have some fun today, people." Okay, right. So. The general review says, "I'm back. Happy wife, happy life." Right? Hell yes, yes. Do not make that mistake.
Please.
So let's see. Let's go through and see some of these questions. D Hype says, "Luke, how do you feel about Tavon Wilson joining the Colts? Oh, he finally got signed by somebody. Holy smokes!
Picked him up.
Yeah.
When was that?
today.
It just happened yesterday or today.
Earlier this morning or something like that.
Oh wow, yep, he'll be cut again.
Mike Daniels got signed too.
Listen. Here's my view on this. Tavon Wilson to me is not the kind of play. Like he's not a starter in this league. He's just not. And it was evident in how long he was a free agent. We are a couple of weeks out from the start of the season. If the season would have started like it was supposed to, he wouldn't even been on the damn team probably for nothing more than a Hall of Fame game. The Colts are doing this because they have people who opted out, and they got a few people who still banged up. I promise you, if he make their roster, I'll be surprised. And I bet you
Luke, I hope you're 100% wrong because we play the Colts. I need him to make that roster.
Oh, I take that back. That's right. I take that back.
I need him to make that roster.
Support. My bad, J-Mo. You right. Support. Yeah, we need him to make that damn roster. We're gonna pray that Tavon Wilson has all the accolades he can get. I listen. Get over there and join them Colts. Yes, yes, absolutely. But yeah, I didn't know he did that. So Steve-O says, I think Okudah is up to the challenge. He's about playing football. Okay.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
The hood cam is in the building. Shout out to Cam, man. If y'all have not subscribed to his channel, y'all sleeping on it. Cam is working on something for the DSA that's huge. I have yet to show it to the DSA because I know he's still working on it. But I'm going to show them, and what I've seen so far is absolutely sick. So I'm loving what he's doing over there. He says, I know I'm super late, but what up, DSA? Best Detroit content on YouTube. Appreciate you, brother.
What's up, Hook?
Congrats on your new job, man. Look, I always told y'all whenever Cam come on, I'll learn something about football. Well, he just got a real football job.
Damn, listen, wait. General View says if Amani can get 2, didn't he? Did he? Oh, he can get 4. Oh my! Maybe. Hey, General, you giving some high expectations. Jesus.
Hey.
Let me see what other questions we got out there before we roll up out of here. Jim, your wife is crazy. Your wife need her own stand up for a few minutes. The level in which she responds to things, man. Jesus.
Think about living with that.
You about to get it. You about to get it.
Yeah. He don't even know he in danger. All right, this one called.
That's my boy Desmond.
Comes from Desmond Dukes. He says, "Do you feel that the Lions are still in a rebuilding phase?" This is gonna go to everybody. I want to say no. Jim says it's 1957. OMG. No. OMG. You said no. Are you saying no that they are?
Yeah, I mean they are because if you ain't won nothing, you gotta be. I mean,
okay.
You're still building till you get there.
No, that's called a revolving door.
Ryder, do you feel that the Lions are still in a rebuilding phase?
I don't think Matt Patricia can afford the Lions to be in a rebuilding phase. So I think they need to win.
Right on.
Real, do you think the Lions are still in a rebuilding phase?
Yeah, no, I agree with Ryder. I think that this is a win now time, especially in this time in Stafford's career.
J-Mo, do you believe that we are still in a rebuilding phase?
No, we are not in a rebuilding phase.
I agree. We are not in a rebuilding phase. The Hood Cam has a question for us. He says, what's more important of a stat to you guys, pass deflects or INTs? INTs is huge because anytime you get the ball turned over, that's great. But the pass deflects is different. If you were to go through and you look at people like Darrelle Revis and you compare him to Richard Sherman has way more interceptions. But people were scared to throw on Darrelle Revis' side. So it's a difference there. So to me, definitely pass deflects for me. What's more important to you, J-Mo, pass deflects or interceptions?
Pass defended.
Real, pass deflects or interceptions?
Pass defended for sure.
OMG, pass deflects or interceptions?
Oh man, I'm 50-50, man, on that. I'm 50-50 on that.
So he's going with interceptions then.
No, you can't. How you gonna just do that?
We're disagreeing, man. We're disagreeing, man.
I mean, I can't pick one or the other, man, because you turn the ball over or you giving us a chance to score points and you're knocking the ball away, you stopping. I just can't pick.
Well,
Okay.
okay, I'll put it like this for you. Minka Fitzpatrick had 7 picks. What's his name? Byron Jones had 1 pick and a lot of pass deflects. That's
Right,
how it is.
right.
It depends on who you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Jim, pass deflects or interceptions?
Pass defenses.
All right. Ryder, pass deflects or interceptions?
I mean, if you're looking at the season, I would say pass defended. But if you're talking about a game, if I would rather have the cornerback get a pass deflection or interception, I'm taking the interception because that could flip a game on its head.
I agree with that. And this will be the last question. Is DSA, how do y'all feel about Travis Fulgham, the former 6th-round pick that joining the Packers? He only over there to try to get information.
He's going to come back to the Lions with secret stuff.
Yeah, so if he give him information or bring it back, it's all the same to me. We're going to the final thoughts, man. This has been a fun show. I hope y'all enjoyed this show. Again, the Bleav podcast is linked in my description. It's under resources. You can see their actual website, and you can see the actual thing where they talk to Benny Blaze about a number of things, from Kenny Galladay's contract extension to our current linebacking core, our receiving core, and much more. So you don't want to miss it. I just want to give y'all a snippet, and I wanted to kind of give this podcast a little love because I love what they're doing over there, and I really do appreciate the fact that they're able to get this type of insight. So we'll do the final thoughts, starting off with you, Ryder. Give the people your final thoughts.
Yeah, so, we did something a little different tonight. I enjoyed it. I mean, got some good conversations, some good debating out there. And, I had fun listening to a former Lion talk about the current Lions. So I enjoyed that. Then obviously big thanks to Onepridenation for coming on for a little bit and talking some Detroit Lions football with us.
Absolutely. Let's go to you, OMG. What's your final thoughts?
Man, my final thoughts is shout out to Desmond Dukes. He actually that's my boy. We live in Jackson together. That's my boy. I know him. He is actually a circuit wrestler in Michigan. Okay. Yeah. And he is the one that's going tomorrow to do the YouTube live with me on the XFL because he's big on the XFL. So tomorrow at 3:30 on OMG's Lions Talk, me and Desmond Dukes will be talking NFL versus XFL, and can they be a farm league? But yeah, man, I just like to say that I liked how you did it tonight, Luke. You didn't let us know no questions, and
no,
kind of just brought it. and I ain't gonna lie, it got a little heated up in here. It got a little heated up in here. I was kind of, I'm like, okay, I see. But but just shout out to everybody who was there, man, who was listening, man. DSA, man, we're gonna do our thing.
Absolutely. Let's go down to you, Jim. What are your final thoughts for the people?
Man, I had a blast tonight. It was so much fun arguing back and forth. I kind of love that type of thing, and it's so much fun to talk football when there's so much other crap going on in the world. So I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody that showed up tonight and was in the chat. Chat was really active tonight. We really appreciate that. Just much love, man. Much love to everybody out there that supports us and rocks with us every Tuesday and Thursday, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. 313 J-Mo, the heart of the city, man. What are your final thoughts for the people?
It was a great and fun show, and OMG, man, you're my man's, but only you could watch Stafford cuss out DeAndre Swift and then say he don't got that fire.
I will agree with you. He do this year, but it's only because the pressure is on.
Man, see, that's what I'm saying. You moving the goalpost. Only because the pressure is on.
Yeah,
but hey man, we love it. We love people who have their own views and thoughts on things. This is a very fun show. And as always, sign Kenny Galladay before I lose my goddamn mind because I'm still worried about that.
and last but certainly not least, Real, what are your final thoughts?
I loved this format. I loved reacting to that podcast. It was great content to listen to, and I loved discussing it with you guys. And OMG, man, don't take it hard. We all have those fucking episodes where we're dying on a hill and everybody's fighting us, man. Don't worry about it, man.
I like that.
Listen, J-Mo pushed him off the goddamn hill. He's like,
Yeah.
nope.
Yeah, man. No, it's the best episode. It's the best shows when we have debates and everybody's going at it and arguing their points. That's the best in my opinion. So yeah, shout out to everybody on this panel today and in the DSA. And, we love rocking with everybody in the chat. So if you're a real Detroit Lions fan, hop onto my channel, hit subscribe. We're a huge community of diehard Detroit Lions fans, and it's awesome. Well, we're not huge yet. We're getting there. But go ahead, Luke.
That's right. Listen, again, I appreciate everybody for coming on. One Pride Nation, appreciate you for coming on and being with us. I know you had to be on for a short period of time. The Hood Camp for coming through in the building. JGB for always making sure he showed love to his Detroit home, even though he is thousands upon thousands of miles away. And today's positive quote came to me from one of my favorite abolitionists, which is W.E.B. Du Bois. He says, "The worker must work from the glory of his handiwork, not simply for the pay. The thinker must think for the truth, not for the fame." And I heard that, and I'm telling you, light bulbs went off. They was blowing up. And the only thing that jumped out to me is you need to take pride in what you do. Do not concern yourself and what is going on around you. Concern yourself in putting your power, your attention, your focus into your own craft. Put it into yourself. That in and of itself is pride. When you spend too much time trying to concern yourself with things that do not concern themselves with you or do not need your concern, then you are doing nothing more than wasting life minutes, and you have only so many. Neither of us know when that time may come. So take that time to be prideful in your work, in your thinking, and in your truth. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you go over and subscribe to the DSA Roundtable, because come very soon, these things will only be posted on the DSA Roundtable. They will not be streamed on both. And after that, we want to make sure that we keep the support going for this, as we are here to provide you with all your favorite Detroit sports talk. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, don't be no chump. Please do your research. We are out.